Okay, everybody, let's try this again. This is like take 3 or 4, who knows. So, double knitting is a weighted knit in which you have this pattern on both sides, but in opposite colors. Here comes my cat. So, the fun about this is that it's like Fair Isle, but in which you can hold it, but you don't have to catch it all the time, just the beginning of the row, because if you don't catch the yarn, beginning of the row, for the edging, then you end up having this separating, and it looks kind of funky. Now this yarn, just so everybody knows, because in case anybody has any questions, is a superwash merino sport Cloudborn Fibers. I got off of Craftsy really cheap a long time ago. Normally, when I do double knitting, it's done with my favorite yarn, Knit Pick Stroll Fingering. This one's Pearl. This one's a beautiful Raven. That's usually what I use with doing double knitting. But this was it's supposed to be sport, but it feels like fingering to me, especially when it knits up. So anyways, the ins and outs of double knitting for Deirdre, and everybody else keeps asking. So, the first stitch is always going to be a knit stitch. No question about it. So, I always do this with the yarn in one color in each hand. Come on, focus. Focus. Thank you. So, I've already got the needle in here for the knit stitch. Now, what you want to do is just with regular Fair Isle, when you're going to catch the yarn, see how I go up and around the yarn I'm not going to use? See? And then I go as if to knit, and see how there's this X back here? You see that? Focus in a little bit. There we go. See how that is? That's going to catch the yarn. See, I lost it. This isn't easy to do in a video, folks. Catch the yarn and you pull it through. Now this creates a way so that it's caught. It's not going to separate. Why do you keep focusing out? So what that does again is catch it at the beginning. That's the only time you need to catch the yarn, because the rest of the time when you're doing this, you're going back and forth and it's catching it. So I've heard of people doing slip one at the beginning. I've heard of people doing all sorts of interesting ones, but this is the way I do it. I catch it. You notice how all the yarn's in the back? Well, now we got a purl. The next stitch, just like normal, all the yarn's in the front. Yep. Okay, and let me just remind you guys that this is the hardest. It's usually easier than this for me. The hardest stitch. It's the first 2 stitches, okay? The hardest stitches. And there you have the first 2. So again, everything in back for the knit, everything in front for the purl. It'd be really nice if this would stay in focus. So, knit everything in back. Let's bring everything forward. And when you have one in each hand, it goes a little smoother in my opinion than having it both in one hand, which I've seen some people use, especially designers and things like that, and that's great, but that's just not how I do it. I like it this way. You don't twist as much with the yarn down there. I normally knit English, so I find it easier to keep tension with this hand, and this is Continental I'm still working on, but this is actually good practice too for, I mean, if you hurt your wrist or your elbow, then if you got to knit with your other side, then you're then you don't have any problems. So that's actually really helpful. But in a nutshell, that's how I do the edging. And again, everything's in back, knit one, bring everything forward, and you purl with the other, with everything in front. See how come on, focus. Everything's in front, and now everything's in back again, ready for the next stitch. So I hope this helps you, Deirdre, and anybody else who wants it. Thank you, and have a good day, guys.